I don't have an issue with people using the cracked version of the game at the casual level. I have an issue with it at the professional level, the competitive level. What does that mean to me? I've seen people talk about it's not a big deal that fighting games have a certain level of like, so okay, this is how I'll word it. A lot of people mentioned that it's not a big deal that people use the cracked beta in Street Fighter 6 because of the fact that none of the people that won Capcom Cup are known users of the cracked beta, which is perfectly fine. But here's the thing. What if one of those players, the one that is mostly accused of it, had won the Capcom Cup? Imagine how much damage that would do to the reputation of the competition. People would have so much negative outlook about the competition because someone had cheated to win. And I'm going to use the word cheating because it is. And for those of you that don't think it is, I'm going to make a point about it here. I'll show you what I mean. So we're going to pull up the blackboard, right? If everyone starts at a starting line, right? If we look at a competition, a simple competition could be a race. Because in a lot of ways, fighting games, when they release and they go through their leagues and they go through their tournaments, it is a marathon. So like everyone else, everyone starts at the same starting line. Everyone back here is populated together at the same starting line. And the starting line is the release date. We'll put RD release date when the game launches. Now they allow people certain early access, whether it's the development of the game or certain betas to test out the fluidness of the game. This is still the same starting line that everyone can apply to unless it's closed beta. And even then, that closed beta is usually so far out, or more importantly, going to go through so much change by the time that the game hits its actual release. So it's perfectly reasonable that the development team or the company is willing to do that. And that doesn't impact competitive nature at all. Now, if the race begins and the game releases, it goes through a long line in which the game will go through its ups and downs. But eventually, at the end of the year, there will be a major competition in which a winner is declared. We call, that's usually like Capcom Cup, so we'll call it the Cup. Whether it's Capcom Cup or any cup at all. The Cup is the end of the year that proves this is the best player for that year. Now here's the problem with having a cracked version of the game for the competitors. The casual players are not competing in these things. They're not. And even if they do compete in these things, then there needs to be consequences for them. But we'll come back to that later. Imagine a scenario where a competitor who had access to a cracked beta wins Capcom Cup. You know what people are going to think? This guy had a head start as a cracked beta user. Using the cracked, he got a head start, and if he wins it all the way to the cup, people are going to discredit this individual and discredit the competition at large if he wins. Now, the fact that somebody else happened to bypass past him before he got to the finish line first means that, okay, at least the competition is intact. But what if the cracked player did win? And that is the problem at hand. He may not have won, but it can happen, and you don't want that risk of that integrity to be compromised. Everyone must start at the release date. So, in my mind, if you're a competitor and you're competing and you're sponsored, even if you're not sponsored, if you're a competitor who's looking to win at a competitive level and you're using a crack beta, you're getting a head start about everyone else. That's not appropriate. And there's a reason why competitive players don't want to admit that they're using cracked, because they know that not just Capcom or the competitive scene will crack down on that stuff, in which they already did, in which it's against TOS, but it's illegal. But also, what it is more than anything else is it threatens the integrity of the competition. So you don't want that to happen. That said, it's not a big deal when the casuals do it, because they're not competing. They're not risking the integrity of it. So how do you solve this? It's a very simple solution. The organizers of the game, organizers of the competition, we'll put down O for organizers, lay down rules in which it's not proper conduct. And if you get caught using the cracked, or someone releases, you know, evidence that you used the cracked and you were in the competition, you lose and you're banned it should be 3 years, in my personal opinion, from being able to compete. It should be a very severe penalty to dissuade people from doing. Now, people may think that I'm going too far with that, but I think it should be severe to save the integrity of the game. If you don't think that that's that big a deal, look at shooters that are going through it right now with cheating that's going on online. Shooters right now, whether it's Escape from Tarkov, any other battle royale game, or even competitive games online in general, with how rampant cheating is online, it has gotten so bad that it's hurting the ecosystem of the game, because now people are always questioning, is someone a cheater on that side? And now, you know, there's a big, you know, push for not just anti-cheat, but also for like cheating organizations, to like anti-cheating organizations where they have like third parties like assess replays and hold them accountable, which I think is a good thing ultimately, you know, at the end of the day, and they watch replays and do that, which is always a good thing. But that's where that's going now. And now there's a whole new generation of video games where cheating is now a problematic element, and growing more problematic as we move forward, especially because it's become an industry. So this is the same way. If you have a head start, in my mind, that's cheating in the competition. If you have a head start in the game, not a big fucking deal. You're not making any money. But this is where money is made, and this is where sponsorships are made. And do you think a company, like a brand, let's take like Hitbox, wants to sponsor a cheater? Or someone that's using the crack beta and getting a head start of the competition? Do you think they want to sponsor that? No, they're going to pull their sponsors out. Sponsors will run away from that. So it's not good for the competition. It's also not good for the health of even the casuals, for that matter. And the reason why it's not good for the casuals is because people don't want to put up with that shit. It's not gonna. It's just gonna hurt the casual player base, because they're once the story gets out and casuals believe it, they're gonna be like, well, why am I playing the game then? You know, even though they can get better than them eventually, just the idea of it can be very dangerous. It's especially bad if like the idea takes hold that it is very problematic. But here's the thing, it's not that threatening at the casual level. You know, most people will move past it. I don't care at the casual level. I only care in competitions. So professional players should not be using cracks, and if they are, they should be doing it in silence, not showing it on streams. Not that I say I condone that at all. I think that's fucked up, but you should always have in a competition a healthy skepticism that there's any cheating going on. If you believe cheating is rampant in a competition, then the competition is going to suffer severely, and it's not good for viewership, and it's not good for competitors, as well as the organizers for that matter. So that's my point of view about that. In any case,